do it all the way through correctly. So that right there is what you call the jaw pop. That is one of the most coolest tricks that I've ever witnessed before. And that trick is demonstrating how quick and how reactive their jaws operate. Now alligators all around their face, going inside their mouth, on their lip line, their tongue, and their gum line, they have sensors. Those sensors is how they're able to pick up vibration within the water and how they're able to pick up sensation when they're outside of the water. And so the trick to the alligator's mouth is when it is open, as long as you don't touch any of the sensors, you won't trigger the alligator to shut its mouth. But now the moment that you trigger any of those sensors, the alligator will completely shut its mouth with all of its pressure that it has. And Ricky Bobby here, she is pushing 6.5 feet, but her biting force is over 800 pounds of pressure per square inch, which means if she were to ever catch somebody, she's gonna leave a memorable mark on them, I assure you of that. Now, when you were working alligators of their energy out in the Everglades back in the day, the land space that you would bring them on top of are called islands. And on the island, all around it is the fresh body of water of the Everglades. And so when tribal members would bring the alligators up on land to work them up their energy, they always had to calculate distance. Reason being, in order to keep the alligator on land, you still have to get close enough to it, but you still have to calculate a good distance. So when you're working them up on land, you have to get close enough that you can physically touch the alligator, but remember, still measure a good distance between yourself and the alligator, because in the process of you working them, they will try to lunge at you. And so you always want to make sure that you have enough space to either jump backwards or just jump to the sides. So we like to tell everybody who comes to the shows that we'll give you $2,000 if you could do that trick. But now if you go home walking without a finger or two, I'm sorry. At least you got $2,000 in the mix of it. Alrighty, so now that she's officially well worked of her energy, this is where you do the official capturing. As you see, Jamie is approaching the alligator directly in front of its face. The traditional way of how you catch them was by doing the frontal catch, and it's doing exactly this. You approach the alligator directly in front because that is their blind spot. Now, you would use one hand to keep the mouth shut, use your other hand to close its eyes, and it is a very quick 1-2 step over and on top of the gator. Now, gators, they have a blind spot. It's directly in front of their face. That's why you're able to do the frontal catch. And why they have that blind spot is because in order for them to get a perfect viewing of the world, they walk in bilateral format, which means zigzag. That's why when you see the gators, they naturally go like this. They have to move their whole head to see perfect viewing of the world. So that blind spot gives you the access to comfortably and safely, to a degree, approach the alligator. And so now that he's on top of the gator, this is where you tie them out. Now, tribal members, when they would go hunting, they would either go hunting with family members, or if not, sometimes you just had to go alone. So in a situation, though, that you are alone and you don't have anybody around you to help you tie the gator's mouth, the technique that you would use, it's called the bulldogging. And as you see, you're going to be utilizing half of your body to help you keep that mouth shut. So you're applying pressure with your chest plate and your head. You stick your hands out because you're alone and you come prepared. You take out that piece of rope that's stuck in your pants and you tie the gator's mouth. From the point that the mouth is tied, this is where tribal members will flip the alligator over onto their back, inducing them into a mild coma. Now, while the alligator's in the mild coma, you have to double tie the mouth one more time. You tie the arms and you tie the legs. Once everything is fully tied up, You flip the alligator back over onto its belly. You pick them up alive. You set them on the bottom of a canoe. You sit on top of them. And then when you get home, that's where you respectfully euthanize the alligator. You don't euthanize them right then and there of catching, because sometimes you have to travel far distances from your camp to find alligators or decent-sized alligators. And with that being said, because of how hot it gets in the Everglades, the meat will literally spoil in less than 30 minutes. So that's why it was a lot smarter and fresher to do the euthanizing at home. Now, tribal members, they are deemed as primitive hunters, which means, respectfully, when they go hunting for animals, they utilize every single bit and piece of the animal's body. And it was no different when it came to the American alligator. So with the gators, with those teeth, they would harvest them out and turn them into beautiful, beautiful, beautiful jewelry, like different type of necklaces, and even so earrings. When it comes to the bones, they will turn them into knives, hammers, shoes for men, and different type of toys for children. With the organs, they would harvest them out, use them to transfer water back and forth. And with other organs, they will lay them out in the sun to tan and dry, and then turn them into material like a rope or twine for when they had to go hunting for gators. Now, with the meat and the skin, some families would keep it for personal use, but then other families, they would use it as a trading good for modern day items that they didn't have at the time. So for the families that would use it as a trading good, what they would get in return were things like guns, gunpowder, flour for cooking, pots, pans, utensils, currency, fabric, sewing machines, literally a little bit of almost anything and everything that was going to make their lives a little bit easier, better, and of course, more modern as time went by. And so, ladies and gentlemen and kids, that's alligator wrestling and alligator demonstrating for you. Let's give Jamie a round of applause for performing such a great and safe show for you all. Now, Jamie is going to be demonstrating a baby gator for each and every one of you to hold and take pictures. It is going to be a safe encounter. The gator's going to have tape on the mouth. And the heads up, this does not harm the alligator. Alligators breathe through their nostrils, not through their mouth. So I assure you the baby's going to be okay. There is going to be hand sanitizer for each and every one of you to sanitize your hands afterwards. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask. I assure you, Jamie does not bite, so don't be shy to go up and talk to him. As well, if you did enjoy his demonstration, he does have a cookie jar, and he is always accepting cookies, but they are never obligated. Now, we want to thank you all so much for coming on and watching our educational demonstration. We hope you enjoyed it, and most importantly, we hope you have a nice day, everyone. Shinabisho. Thank you all so much for coming out. Now, if you are interested in the baby gator encounter, you guys can start a line right in front of this end.